The book I'm going to be using for this quilt is 3 Yard Quilt Favorites, and I feel like it's going to be a lot of piecing, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun at the same time. So I'm going to do this Pinwheel one, and once you see my fabric, you'll understand why I picked that one. I have had this fabric for a very long time, and I can tell you why I know how long I've had it. I got my bachelor's degree in photography in 2011, and I'm pretty sure I had this fabric before then, if not before I got my associate's degree in photography in 2009. If you can't tell already, it's photo fabric. So I remember buying this. I got it at Hancock Fabrics, which is, I believe, is different than Hancock's of Paducah. It was local here in the Northern California area. They closed a while ago, to the point of I bought a lot of it. I bought this when I really didn't understand yardages or how much fabric it really takes to make a quilt top. One day I'll show you my binding cassette tape. That is a lot of binding for one quilt because I didn't understand the concept, but that's a different story for a different day. Today we're going to be making a photo quilt with photo fabric and all sorts of fun. So this is going to be a fun one for both a teen, a tween, an adult even. I think it's going to be great. So I only have to give up a little of this fabric. Someday I'll make something for myself. This might even work for the backing. Anyways, back on track. So for my pinwheels, I've got that film strip, which is this one. And then I've got this black, just solid black. I think that's gonna be good to balance it out and not have too much prints on prints on prints. And then because the whole quilt is the pinwheel and then the border is different, I'm gonna use this one for the border because I think it's gonna be big enough and then I won't lose it if I cut it down into smaller squares. So I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be very black and white, very 2 colors, not a whole lot of busyness going on, but then it's gonna come together really quick. And I think I've got a good pantograph in mind already for it that's just nice and loopy and all over the place. And so it's gonna look really good with this fabric. So I'm excited to finally use a little bit of this fabric and make a dent in my stash that way, but also see how fun of a project I can make with it. And then maybe that'll inspire me to make my own photo quilt for myself with some of this. So I'm gonna start getting cutting and then we'll come back when it's time to piece. So clearly I'm in for more half square triangles in my life since this is that pinwheel quilt. So I've got all my squares cut, my outside border, my little inside border. Hopefully that's not going to be too busy. And I decided that instead of doing this as the binding, like the pattern had written out, I had extra of the black. So I cut that to be my binding, which left me with very little scrap and just enough to cut my pillowcase out. So my matching pillowcase is going to black as the body. This is the cuff, and then this is a little flange, so it's gonna be super fun. So, time to get this into development. Ha ha ha. I've trimmed up my 5 bajillion half square triangles. Luckily, they are not directionally fussy cut this time. So I'm just gonna piece these together, run row, 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 and then we'll just flip them and then it'll be time to piece the top together. It's gonna go really quick. And our photographic pinwheel is complete. So I'm quite pleased with how this turned out. Had I thought about the layout a little bit more, I would have maybe switched this little inner border to be the black instead of having my binding being the black, because then it would have allowed this somewhere your eye to rest, so then it would be more of a focal. But in the end, I think it's still really cool. Because my borders were directional, I have them all so they're facing out, so then the bottom is all around the outside framing it up. So then if you are looking at the quilt, this is right side up. If you are cuddling under the quilt and you look down, your cameras are still right side up. And so I am quite pleased with how this turned out, even with all the half square triangles. These ones went a lot faster because they were much bigger, but then I still had to trim out a whole lot more of them. But they also weren't directional, so that's a plus. The finished size of this is about 46 by 60, which is really nice. I'm pretty excited to quilt this because you'll see in my next video for this one that I found something really cool in my stash that's gonna be an awesome backing for this. And it's not that blue fabric that's been on 2 other quilts. So I'm very excited for you to see this come together, and I'm excited to see it come together because I already have my pantograph in mind, I've already got my thread in mind, I've already got my backing, so I'm ready to roll this up, get it on the long arm, and get going. So I will see you next time so we can finish this up.